In this video, we're gonna go over my 4-step blueprint to doing 6 figures on Etsy.com. Aside from going over these 4 steps, I'm also gonna reveal 2 things that I personally think affected my shop the most, right? Every shop has its own needs, wants, fears, and goals, and has it's different things that work better or worse per your niche. So I'm gonna reveal what those 2 things were from my store specifically. And the second thing we're also gonna reveal, or what I'm gonna do, not really reveal, if you stay until the end, is I'm gonna do real listing critiques where I'm going to take a listing from either being an okay listing or even a listing that's currently performing live on camera. I'm gonna show you how I'm gonna beat that listing if I were gonna go compete with that listing. So those 2 things, if you stay until the very end, but let's not waste any more time. Let's get into step number 1. By the way, guys, I have to shout them out. Profittree is the first real-time ever profit tracking solution for Etsy merchants. So even if you're not ready for doing profit tracking for your current Etsy shop because maybe you're not making profit yet, make sure you save this video because you can sign up for free in the link below this video. All right, so step number 1 is finding your niche on Etsy. So finding what you're going to sell, which I think is a lot of people's problems, but not to worry. In the link in the description, there is also a sheet that has the top 15 niches on Etsy. So the top most searched, most profitable niches on Etsy currently right now in 2024. So you can go and get that free document that is highlighting all of the different product opportunities and ideas that you can go after. Now, when you're determining what niche you want to go after, I really want to stress this more than anything else. When you're starting a business, you need to visualize yourself doing something consistently for many years because that's what it takes to run a successful business. And I think a lot of people in the beginning are just chasing money and they think that money is the solution to their problems, when in reality, if you're building a business or building a product line that you don't actually enjoy, you may have just given yourself another job. And until you actually make money with that business, you're really not gonna have a happy journey to Etsy success because you're not going to like what you're doing. Ask yourself the question, can I see myself doing this not just for the next 6 months, but for the next few years from now? I promise you that if you don't enjoy what you're doing or what you're building, or when you're tapping into your creative flow and sitting down every day to work, if you don't actually enjoy the work you're doing, the burnout is going to come and it's going to come fast. The reality is you can compete in any niche. It comes down to that GWC and the amount of tenacity that you have. I just wanted to cut in here and reiterate something about choosing your niche. So yes, you can be successful in any niche that you want to compete in because you are competing. But if you want to set yourself up for the best case scenarios, then you are going to want to do some preliminary market research first to see what is the best case scenario for the market. So I relaunched the starter course in my all-in Etsy masterclass. So I'm going to link below the page to sign up for the free course. And basically what that gets you, it unlocks you module 1, 2, 3, and 4, which basically not only lays the foundation of Etsy if you are starting for the first time, but also in module 2 here, right, it goes really deep into validating and elevating your business or your brand idea, right? You don't want to invest a bunch of time, money, and energy to build products that nobody wants to buy, right? So we're going to make sure that doesn't happen. So make sure you go in and get that free starter course. The link is in the description where we go way more in depth than just this short little video on YouTube, okay? So yeah, I'll see you inside the course. Obviously, you can set yourself up for better or worst case scenarios by choosing, top niches per the category and beating people at the top by building more competitive businesses, which we're going to talk about in step number 2. Number 2 is product creation and optimization. So when it comes to your product creation after you choose your niche, it's really important for you to figure out what angle you're going to compete on. So when you post your Etsy listings, you are competing for clicks against other people in the search pages. So you want to find a unique selling point or something that makes you more clickable than everyone else. So here's a list of things that you can compete on with Etsy. So you can compete on price point, you can undercut the market, you can compete on marketing, so having better imagery and videography than your competition. Number 3, you can offer more variation. So you can just beat your competition by being able to offer more different sizes or colors or materials. If you come in with a higher price, right, maybe you have a justification for that. So I recommend that you have a low ticket and a high ticket offer because there's always a percentage of people that want to buy the most expensive thing. So, if you have a listing that has different variation options that there is a more expensive thing to buy. Another one is quality. So is your quality better than your competition? Another one is bundling. Can you bundle your items in a space where no one's bundling? Bundling means grouping products together to buy more than one for a slightly cheaper price. This also helps you increase your average order value. It helps you earn that click. What they see in the main image, it's actually a bundled set that's more expensive, but you see the cheaper price on the front end, which the pros outweigh the cons on this one. You're going to earn the click the majority of the times when you bundle things. And then another one is personalization. So again, you don't have to implement all of these competitor tactics, but the more you have in your products across all of your listings, the more competitive you're going to be. Even if you're not feeling confident that you can compete on any of these angles, I would say there's so much learning that happens just by going to market. And as long as you make it a goal to try to compete on some level like this, even if you're not competing like on all these attributes today, but you have a goal in mind that you're going to, don't let that inhibit you from launching. Because the winning when you're first starting out is just launching as many listings, quality listings per your niche as possible. Step number 3 is marketing and promotional strategies. So there's 2 types of marketing when it comes to Etsy. There is creative marketing and there's strategic marketing. Creative marketing is how do I make everything look pretty and branded together? How do I make graphics in my images? How do I sell in my video and my storytelling? And strategic marketing is how do I take all this pretty stuff and turn it into a strategy that makes me money? So from a creative standpoint, right, we kind of already touched on this, is how do you outmarket people with your imagery? So one thing I would suggest, especially if you're new and you've never done product imagery or mock-ups before, take your listing compared to some top performing competitors, similar product listings that are attracting the same customer avatar as you, put their main images next to your main image and show 10 to 20 friends and family and ask them which one would they click on out of the 5, right? And if you're not winning the majority of the clicks between your friends and family out of a 20-person data sample, then there might be a KPI there saying that you need to figure out how to enhance your product imagery. So that is just an easy, free way to see if you can actually compete from a competitive standpoint. And strategic marketing is coming down to the strategy that you're actually using to make money. So that is things like your pricing strategy. So coming in at a break even or cheaper price point just for the launch, just to gain traction, coming in cheaper than anyone else, something like this. A daily sales strategy. It's doing things like having a bundled listing. They see a bundled item or more than one item in the main image, then they click on the listing, but then they actually see that there's a drop-down menu where they have to select the option that they want to buy, basically. Where now you just earn that click, which is the hardest part about all this, is getting that click, but now you let the listing upsell them into, the highest ticket offer in that drop-down menu. It's also things like Etsy ads, okay? I have a full training on Etsy ads in my playlist, so make sure you cue that video next, because that is where I'm going to reveal the 2 things that basically made my Etsy shop explode when I first got on Etsy. I was in the most competitive niche when I launched, and somehow we still managed to take over so much market share. So the 2 things that I really leaned on was Etsy ads, and number 2 was having very competitive imagery. Actually, we could argue 3 things, and bundling. And I would bundle everything. So I would put in the main image a full set option, and then when they clicked on the listing, which showed the algorithm that I'm earning the majority of the clicks, they would see a drop-down menu, and I would upsell them from a product that was $28 all the way to like $78. Those 3 things made my shop. And so people love to stress over keywords and SEO optimization via keywords. And I'm not saying that keywords aren't important, but if I had to stress on what you should stress over more, it's imagery. Yeah, and bundling and having a unique value proposition for your actual product. After you do so much keyword research, if you're not making the sales you want, it's 90% of the time a product of a listing problem as far as our creative marketing goes. It's not so much SEO problems with keywords. Sometimes it is, but I would say it's like majority of the time it's creative marketing problem. Finally, step number 4, and remember guys, we're gonna go over some live listing critiques right after this. Step number 4, we gotta understand that this is a marathon, not a sprint, okay? Your first 50 renditions of product listings is going to be drastically different than your 50 to 100 and your 100 to 150 and your 500 to 550. There is so much learning that happens in these long drawn out periods of creating listings. Like if you looked at my, marketing and the logos I would make and the color schemes and the fonts that I would put together, back in 2019 versus, today, it's drastically different. The only way you can get better at this stuff is by doing it over and over and over and obsessing over and over and over again. That is just the reality. Surely after you do something 1,000 times over, you get better at it. And the reality is most people are not willing to do that. And that is fine. It's nothing like against those people, and even if you try this out and you realize it's not for you, it's not a failure. That's just going to push you to the next thing that is for you. So none of this means that you're failing by any means. And I know that's hard to remember when you feel like you're failing. And I'm especially a good case of that, I always feel like I'm not doing enough. But yeah, that is that. Now I'm going to hop into my computer screen real quick and we're going to do some live critiques here. All right. So we have this listing here that actually has a really cute product. It says Bugs Organic t-shirt and booklet. So when I look at the actual design and, this first mock-up, it's clear that they have an aesthetic eye. They're just marketing this really, really poorly. So what they're actually selling in this listing is a t-shirt and this little booklet here, which I think is actually kind of a cute idea because it's basically like a print-on-demand listing with an added value proposition, but their main image doesn't tell any of that story. Moreover, their main image, the girl, is actually hiding the design. So you don't want to confuse your customer for a millisecond, right? So if I can't look at the main image without reading anything and I don't understand what you're selling, because I'm looking at this, I don't know if you're selling the butterfly or you selling this thing, because you're covering the actual product. So if you are selling two things, one, I would optimize your keywords. In this case, I would optimize keywords. This needs to take up 80% of the screen. So I would need to see the shirt fully with nothing covering the face. And I would need to see the booklet somewhere maybe on the side. So if you come here and you look at this, that is the main image. So this needs to be zoomed in about here. And we would need to add a side booklet graphic there that says plus free booklet or something like that, or kids pamphlet or something like that, which I think this is a really cool competitive shirt. And I think that the following images are actually really, really good. You completely lost on what you're getting. If there's any confusion in the listing, you've already lost the sale, right? So I would optimize this a lot better and also add a video explaining that. So you kind of just have these images of a booklet, but yeah, it's not really telling the full story just by seeing that main image. Here's another listing that is really, really cute and it's in 20 add to cart. So it's a hot product. So how would I even beat this even further? So one thing is you have this little tag here. I would offer personalization. So the influence of a blank can never be erased, never be erased. Like, this is so cute, but I would 100% offer personalization. And so my guess is they're just printing these little things out, but if they added, a personalization request form box, that would increase the value proposition of this more. Another thing that I would do is I would just take this a whole up a notch by adding a personalization and add a video of me waving to the camera, actually making the thing, packaging the thing, putting a face behind the actual brand. People love that. And in this case, this is already a hot product with 20 add to cart. This would explode it even more. Also bundling, maybe do a teacher and a principal bundle, right? Like I would keep this as is, but then split test it with a teacher and principal bundled set that is maybe $35 or slightly cheaper. So now you're getting two, but for a little bit less. And then there would be a drop-down menu basically. And they could also personalize the principal's name and the teacher's name. Here is a listing of a jewelry, of a necklace. So this is their main image. And you have some graphics in the main image. Also a really good selling product, which is great. But the image and the following images are really not poorly done. It's just there's a lot of opportunity here. So the video is pretty good. It's very clear, but like the image, especially with the shadows, makes it really hard to see what it is. And the fact that it has in 20 add to carts is really, really good. But I would turn something like this image with that product into something like this, where the skin and everything contrasting the gold makes you see the product pop like crazy, right? And also I would optimize my other image slots here. So they're doing the cool thing here where they have the full set option and they have each variation option to buy. So you see 38 and then you get upsold into the full set, which jumps to 70. So that's amazing. I just think that you can really increase the value proposition here by doing doing more storytelling in the images, maybe showing your packaging, and also split testing this with a different listing with a better illuminated product like we saw in that other example. So it's not that you have to change the main image on the existing one that's listing. I would duplicate it and split test it against a different image to run it against this one and maybe not make the main image with with graphics in it. Yeah, because you can just see the difference. Like if you were looking at this versus this image stage like this, like which one would you click on, right? But imagine if it was this product with, you know, seeing the personalization letter. Like even here, even when I'm looking at it, it's kind of hard to read. So this would just add fuel to the fire to actually split test. And you can prove this to yourself by split testing it and running it again. Overall, guys, I hope you got some serious value out of this video. Make sure you comment any of your questions or concerns, or even if you just have some love to give in the comment section, make sure you leave a comment because that really helps me and it lets me know that I'm actually making a difference and people are tuning in and you're seeing the value in all these videos. Okay. But overall, again, thank you so much for staying to the end and I will see you all in the next video. Bye guys.